Hello. Well, I nearly didn't make it. I was settling down to a nice cup of tea, and I had a message from the wonderful Andy Walsh, who said, "Did you know you're on at 5 your time, not 6?" And I went, "Oh, really?" So I had to hurriedly get everything ready. But here I am to wish you all a happy astrological new year, because the spring equinox is actually a very, very significant time of year, because it coincides with the sun's move into Aries. So yes, happy spring. And happy, do you know, in Anglo-Saxon times, it was called Ostara, because it comes from the Anglo-Saxon goddess named Eostra, which represented spring and new beginnings. The celebration of spring is present in many ancient customs across all cultures, and it seems that Wicca has borrowed many of them for Ostara. So I thought it would just be interesting. So I've just gone on dear old Google to just look up what is the spiritual meaning of the spring equinox. And I will try and catch up with all your hello, Andy. Did you know you're on at 5 o'clock your time? Really? Oh, so I am. I hurriedly checked. And oh, dearie me. But it is about rebirth and renewal. Now, I always think everything and anything that happens around doing any kind of recording or live or event is significant in some way. So I was nearly late. So what do we make of this? I was late for my own show. And I think this is something to do with the unpredictability of the movements of the planets. And thank you, Laura, bless you. I'm kind of dipping in and out of live chat, but I really do want to kind of keep a thread here, because I've just actually this afternoon, the reason I'm in blue is because I've pre-recorded the next of my Outer Planets series, Neptune, in 2024, which will be live on my channel on the 18th of April. And I went all over the place at various points, which is a bit like Neptune. Neptune goes all over the place. There's no containment, but it's deeply spiritual, highly significant for this kind of time of year. And I thought it would also be interesting to look at the chart of the moment. And, you know, the pagans saw this as a very magical time, a powerful time of the balance between nature and magic. So it marks the midpoint between the winter solstice, of course, and the summer solstice. So yeah, the Neptune video should be good. I go through each of you and it should be good. I did it. Of course it'll be good. Says my Leo ascendant. So I'm just looking to see what it says for the, oh, that's interesting. This is the time when the goddess conceives the god's child, which will be born at the winter solstice. And I'm nearly late. I'm late for a very important date. Well, of course, when we fall pregnant, we discover we're late. We know we're late because our cycle seems to have been interrupted. So maybe the significance of me being nearly late for today's date is something to do with the symbolism of the conception and the mystery and the magic of the conception of what's going to unfold for all of us between now and the summer solstice and the winter equinox, not forgetting the autumn equinox as well, the winter solstice, the autumn equinox. But there is a great deal of symbolism, because remember, the ancients had to use the seasons and the stars and the movement of the sun to know the best time to sow their seeds. Oh, I say, Laurie, I'm most impressed. You're feeling rejuvenated. Well, I felt quite good today, I have to say, and not bad for only just having finished the Neptune video, having a quick kind of cup of tea, and here I am. So I thought it would also be interesting to look at a chart of the moment today that the sun moved into Aries, because this gives us a point in time, and it gives us that point in time to give us a sense of what we can expect to unfold for all of us between now and the summer solstice. So we're looking at the year being broken up into quarters. So yes, we are in Aries energy now. Absolutely, Laurie. Absolutely. And this chart that I did, which was at 0407 Central European time, so I did it from my own location. The sun was exactly 0 degrees and 0 minutes. The chart is quite interesting, and I wish I had a way to kind of magically put it up there. But as you know, I don't know how to do that yet technologically. And there just hasn't been time to think of all these things. You'd think after nearly 4 years, I'd have had time to work it out with the lovely Jerry, but we haven't. So there we go. And here we are. And so this chart has interesting mix of fixed and mutable energy. So this gives us a little bit of insight into what we can expect with the coming kind of 3 months, really. It's leading up to the the summer solstice. So the rising sign of the chart is Aquarius. So that's fixed, but it's also, it's where we connect with the community at large. We also raise our frequencies to this higher level of energies. And that is very much what Pluto in Aquarius, excuse me, Pluto in Aquarius is encouraging us to do. Now, Pluto in this chart is in the 12th house. So Pluto's energy is somewhat hidden, because it's like the spring, it's like the pregnancy of the goddess at the spring equinox. We have to keep some, we have to keep seeds that are growing in the dark. It's as simple as that. I don't have to make it more complicated for myself. So when seeds are growing in the dark, including a fetus, including a baby, it means that we have to just let them do what they know best. They know how to grow in the right way and in the right timing. We don't. We have to have faith that what is going on in the dark is good and is okay. So interestingly, the moon is in Leo for this chart, and the moon is making a, let me see, it's actually making a trine. No, it's not. Yes, it is. It's making a trine to the sun in Aries. So this is a good energy. This is powerful. This is helpful. That's a nice phrase, Andy. You hope whatever is growing in the dark for all of us gives us a hint as to what's happening. I agree. No, listen, Jem, I was totally caught out too. Andy messaged me and said, did you know your live was at 5 o'clock your time? And I went, no, I thought I'd set it for 6 o'clock. Clearly I didn't. So, and there we go. And here we are. So, Jem, I didn't know either. So let me just tell you what I'm going to do today, because once I've cleared my throat, it's the remnants of the tea kind of just, anyway, we don't need to go into the details, do we? I have not got a word for the next 3 months, but I do have a phrase. And that phrase, which I think I will bring in now, is about taking risks. There was a book written, which some of you will know, back in the probably 80s, called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And one of the things that the authoress, Susan Jeffers, talked about was taking risks and growing. So the phrase I thought that would be really good for us all to use as a kind of in our mind, in the topmost of our mind, intention for the forthcoming 3 months. Take risks, because it leads to personal growth. There is no way a risk can have a bad outcome, because what it will have is the outcome that happens. And whatever that outcome is, leads us on to the next path. So it's about being able to live in that harmony and flow of life, where we don't see something as bad, wrong, or terrible, but we see it as an opportunity for personal growth. So that's right, Carol. You remove the blocks so that you move on. Andy, taking risks. This resonates for what you need to do over the next month or so with work. Well, there you go. So take risks because it leads to personal growth. I was talking to someone this morning, it was a client, and I'm sure she won't mind me mentioning this because it's not betraying a confidence, but we were discussing, because I was discussing how I am feeling leading up to my impending surgery. I was going to say impending doom. Oh my God, that shows you where my mind is, doesn't it? Leading up to my impending or forthcoming surgery, which is, there are 3 stages one can be in: fight, flight, or freeze. Do you ever think when you're feeling, when you're feeling something about a situation, am I in fight, am I in flight, or am I in freeze? And I realized that with this forthcoming surgery, I'm actually not in fight or flight, I'm in freeze. I'm in rabbit caught in car headlights. Because even though it's a personal choice to go ahead with it, obviously on the good advice of, specialists in their field, it's still a risk. So I'm going to be taking a risk next week, which I'm hoping will lead to not only physical recovery, but personal growth. Because there is no way I can go through this situation without personal growth happening on some level. It won't just be I go in and have an operation and come home. That is not the way these things work. They drag up from the very depths of our soul. It's like we have to face the reality about ourselves. We have to face the truth about ourselves. We have to face our fears. We have to face our freeze element. We have to face our the reason that we have to actually let go of the control, because any kind of surgery is a bit like getting on an aeroplane, isn't it? we have to let go of the control when we get onto an aeroplane, because we just have to have faith that the captain actually knows what he's doing and also wants to get this thing off the ground and back down safely. So I have to trust that the surgeon knows what he's doing and does not want a black mark on his CV. So I just talk about this because fight, flight, and freeze, I think, are interesting, very primitive energies that kind of have been coming up for me. And I think that the equinox is actually very good energy for any of us that are embarking on something that involves taking risks. Because whatever we do, going out every morning in our car, on our way to work, on the bus, on the train, on the tram, walking on the bike, whatever, we are taking a risk every time we step outside our door. But we don't think of it like that. The people that think about it like that are the ones that are caught in paranoia, because then they're so much living in the future, they cannot possibly bear to be in the present, where everything is actually out of our control. And that's the whole thing. Nothing is ever in our control. Now, the ancients, if we come back to the spring equinox, the only way they could feel they had some control was by recording the times of the year that they had worked into these 12 months, the Gregorian calendar, that they could sort of segment the year into these 4 quarters to give them some sense of control. But it's a false reality, because of course we don't really ever have control over anything. And the one thing that we constantly have to live with, which most of us through the day don't particularly think about, is the fact that we have to live with uncertainty. Once we can learn to accept uncertainty and live with uncertainty, we have mastered an amazing part of life. We have mastered an ability to stay in the present. And as we know, and this has been said many times, it is no surprise the present is used as the same word for gift, because truly every moment is a gift. Now, all the time within all of these things, and today and tomorrow and yesterday, lots of people will be going through challenges that are difficult. They may be losing someone. They may be sitting at the bedside of somebody who is passing. They may be sitting at the bedside of somebody who is about to give birth. Life is a risk. Life is uncertain. And life is difficult. As M. Scott Peck from The Road Still Travelled says, the road less travelled says, life is difficult, and this is a truth. This is a great truth. And when we can finally accept that this is a great truth, then finally the fact that life is difficult ceases to become such a problem. What's this, Susan? You were a day from outer space. Okay. Okay, Michelle Williams, you're going through that now. Whoa, see me, you've almost completed your novel. Oh, publish. Take the risk. How do you know unless you put it out there? This is just so super exciting. I mean, you're asking me about this today. We have the spring equinox. You know, the moon today is trining Neptune. The moon is trining the sun. This is the most beautiful energy to set intentions for every new thing that any of you want to set in place today. Pluto, excuse me, is in opposition to the moon. So what do we make of that? Because the moon is in Leo at 3 degrees and Pluto is in opposition. Now, they're both in what I call rather tricky parts of the chart. Pluto, as I said, is in the 12th house. Pluto's energy is trying to take us down into the murky depths of our soul, our psyche, the very essence of our being. The moon in Leo is saying, hey, what's going on? The cats are just making a huge noise in the other room. And that's what the moon is saying. The moon is saying, oh dear, I think there's a little fight going on. Yes, I think it's Rudy Red, aka George the Assassin, and Iggy Fluffball. Oh well, we will hope that listen, see me, the fact that you're bringing it up today is the seed of intention. So see me, listen to that, have faith in that. Just if you do hear yowling, it's Rudy Red, aka George the Assassin, and Iggy Fluffball Poo Poo. Now, the moon today is waxing gibbous, and cats always get rambunctious when we were on the phone. Well, when we're on here, you see, they did it. Do you know they did it in my Neptune video I've just recorded? At one point, I had to say, will you behave? It's just like, we want to be on. Can you put us in this? So, yes, the cats are saying yes. But the cats are picking up the energetic energies that we've got around today. Let me have a look at the chart again, because the moon opposite Pluto, those energies are tugging, they're pulling, and Pluto's in the 12th house, which is about hidden things, and Pluto is trying to reveal them, to transform them. The moon in Leo in the 6th is saying, I don't serve anyone. I expect people to serve me. And there are others around saying, well, hey, baby lion, baby pusscat, you better get used to it. You will have to do a little bit of serving as well. And Leo is saying, I don't think so. So we have, yes, Poonam, they like to be part of the show. And that is what they are doing today. Oh, joy. Oh, I'm so happy. Listen, April, we are moving up. First of all, we're moving up to this very significant full moon penumbral lunar eclipse on Monday, which is the 25th. And it's in Libra. Now, I'm not going to go through it all because I will talk about it on Sunday in my live for the week ahead. But remember that eclipses put something in shadow. And a full moon is about bringing closure to something. So just bear that in mind when you're thinking about, of course, we're boosting your confidence, see me. See me, you brought it in now to say, see me. We are seeing you. We respect you. We want you to do well. We want to celebrate your success. And that's another thing, isn't it? That people don't, you know, people need to, over the next kind of, over the passage of Pluto in Aquarius, people have got to stop going down to these baser energies and levels of jealousy, bitchiness, competitive stuff, envy. Why cannot we celebrate each other's successes? You know, as I've often said, doing what I do with the YouTube channel, doing the astrology, my passion, channeling my lovely blue light beings. This is not an exclusive club. There's not an exclusive membership to this club. It is for everyone. And so, you know, it's really about elevating everybody and saying, yes, you can do it. So, you know, I can now see that the fact that I chose the phrase, take risks, it leads to personal growth, was absolutely spot on for this live broadcast today that I nearly missed. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the energy of the astrology today, because Mars is still in Aquarius at 27 degrees, but on the 22nd, so that's not far off, that's, where are we? That's, today's the 20th, 21st. Oh, so that's Friday. Friday? What day is it today? Wednesday. God, senior moment. So that's Friday. Mars moves into Pisces. So we have that energy happening. Now, Mars in Pisces drowns a bit. So be prepared for the fact that even though the sun has moved into Aries, so we're all feeling, yes, let's go for it, let's do it. Soon as Mars moves into Pisces, the energy can dip a bit because we suddenly feel, I had all that enthusiasm, I tried so hard, I felt so excited about everything, and now it just feels a bit flat. So there may be a little sense of that until we get used to the energy of Mars in Pisces. Because remember, the Mars energy heats up the water of Pisces. So it can steam up, warm up, bubble up this wonderful Neptunian Piscean water. You are so welcome, see me. I want the signed copy, the first signed copy, please. I'll even buy it off you. Laurie, what's that? Seriously, only 2 days, you give up? Yes, Susan, like a cauldron. It is. Mars in Pisces is a bit like, you know, it's throwing a hot coal into a cauldron. Will it actually get completely extinguished before it moves into its home sign of Aries? It's a bit like somebody should have invented a kind of an astrological board game. Well, there's an idea. I'm claiming copyright on that, but one of you can develop it. We'll all go in, you know, we'll all go in halves and quids in and all the rest of it. But you would really learn, you know, kids would learn a lot about astrology if it was a board game. Oh, Mars has just moved into Pisces. I've got to go back 2 steps. Or Mercury's retrograde. That sent me back to the right to the beginning. Interesting thought. So, yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Andy, I think this is something your kids could help with. Brilliant idea. And, you know, just to remind you that on April the 1st, now, I just want to tell you a little bit about what's going to be happening over the next couple of months. Because on Sunday, I will do the week ahead as usual. That will be the last live week ahead for a little while, I think, because I really don't know how quickly I will recover, what state I'll be in, but I do intend, to the best of my ability, to do 1 or 2 cheeky little lives from the hospital, completely without my face on, looking an absolute sight, to just update you on what's going on. I just feel so excited about that. I love doing things that are just a little bit different and, you know, like nobody else perhaps would do. So I haven't gone yet, please don't say that. But on April the 1st, I have pre-recorded the April month ahead video, and I've set it as a premiere. So that means I can join you all to watch it for the first time on live chat. So that'll be fun. And it's April Fool's Day, and it's the day that Mercury, our planet of communication, goes retrograde. So I talk about that in the month ahead. And I am going to talk about it a bit more on Sunday when I do the week ahead, because I think I need to start preparing you guys for what's coming, because April is just a mega month astrologically. And, you know, I might be high as a kite. Yes, I probably will be. Oh, the morphine, give me more. You know, one of those little punchy button things where I can just kind of keep injecting more into my system. I think it has a kind of a catch on it, so you can't do it. But it's a nice thought anyway. But I've also pre-recorded the new moon total solar eclipse for April the 8th. So that will actually go up before the end of March. And I've also pre-recorded the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus, which will be phenomenal. And I go through all your individual signs for that. But what else can we learn from this astrology? Because today, Venus, our planet of relationship, love. So if you think about today, this is the energy for today. It's about relating. It's about love. It's also about action. Tell people you love them. You know, sometimes often we do it in ways that we don't always kind of, we can't say it, we can't express it. But, you know, sometimes it's just about saying, you know, I do love you, or I love you, I'm thinking about you. And because Venus is coming up to be conjunct Saturn in a few days' time. And Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces could be about commitment. It may be that you need to sort of just re-look at your relationship with another, or even with yourself, and think about whether you need to recommit to you, to recommit to your ideas, to your plans, to your dreams. What have you allowed through the Pisces energy to just kind of drift away? To kind of, hi Katie, good to see you here. What have you forgotten to, what dreams might have just eluded you and slipped away? So Aries energy is going to kind of get you more focused, because it is the beginning of the zodiac. It is about, here we go, new beginnings, let's start again. Mercury, our planet of communication, is also conjunct the North Node and Chiron in Aries. Now, they're in the second house. The second house is about, well, it's about our financial situation, but it's also about material possessions, luxury goods. It's our home, it's buying a home, it's our self-worth. So we've got Mercury, the North Node, Mercury communication. This is all in Aries. The North Node, our collective destiny. And Chiron. Chiron is this space object known as a centaur, because it's part of a group of space objects just past the asteroid belt, known as the centaurs, and it is the chief centaur of this particular group. So this was Chiron, and Chiron, as you know, was half man, half horse. Now Chiron carried a wound. What are you still carrying into the next quarter of the year that needs to be healed. I know what I'm carrying and what I need to heal, but what about you? You, Andy, you, Katie, Susan, Jem, Mimini, Simi, Poonam. I know you're all out there. You're amazing. But what are you carrying with you that needs to really be perhaps looked at and worked with and let go? Dawn, you have bad body image. You know, so many people suffer from bad body image. You know, I remember when I was 21, tall, blonde, long legs, long blonde hair, and I was about, well, I was half the weight or the size I am now. Not quite, but nearly. And I thought I was fat. And I went through my teens thinking I was fat. I wasn't. I went through my 20s thinking I was fat. I went through my 30s still convinced I was fat. I got into my 40s and I was fat. And then I knew what it was like to be fat. And I thought, goodness me, why didn't I realize that in my teens and my 20s and my 30s, I actually had a pretty hot figure? And why didn't I appreciate it? But the other thing about this and body image, it is about self-worth and self-image. And I think social media, which has been discussed a lot by various people, has not served us well because, you know, I don't know if any of you know, in the UK, we've had a lot of kind of talk going on about the royal family and the Prince and Princess of Wales photoshopping a picture that the Princess of Wales had put out for Mother's Day. And, you know, for goodness sake, I understand why they want to do it. And don't we all want to just touch things up a bit? And we have the technology now that we can do it, but how does it serve us? And I think I feel very empathic towards parents bringing up children who are under 12, moving into their teens, because you're going to have such a problem on your hands in terms of the amount of social media they will be bombarded with the, you know, the classic selfie image. You get the picture? Well, that's just it. We don't get the picture. We get a Barbie doll. This is not a real person. This is not teaching our children to be authentic. And maybe that is an intention that all you parents out there, and I'm sure you do, Andy, I absolutely have no doubt that you do this, Andy. And it's so important that we teach our kids to be real and authentic. My hope is that Pluto in Aquarius is going to enable the community at large to transform and use technology in a way that is empowering, not in a way that is beautifying us all and making us into these kind of, as I say, Barbie dolls. You know, if you've not seen the film Barbie, watch it. There is such a message in that film, a deep, dark message, which I have absolutely no doubt the production team and director intended fully, because I know a lot of people who haven't watched it or who've sat and watched the first 10 minutes and said load of rubbish. No, it's not. No, if you watch the whole film, you realize it is an absolutely brilliant satire on what is currently happening and how we have to stop it now. We have to change it now. And we can use these intentions with this spring equinox weather. We need to, you know, Mercury conjunct Chiron in Aries. What is it that needs healing? What needs healing in society? There is so much that needs healing in society. This plastic image that is given to you know, young children. I don't know how they survive. I mean, the last 20 years we have seen such a rise in eating disorders and dysmorphia, where people really do have a huge problem with body image. And if we can't show ourselves and love ourselves for our real authentic selves, maybe that'll be one of the messages in a live I do from hospital, because you will see me not literally naked and bare, but I will be, you know, naked from here up. The hair won't be done, the face won't be done. Maybe that's a good thing to, you remember people had those pictures a few years ago on Facebook, you know, showing yourself, you know, giving a selfie with no makeup. And, you know, somewhere that needs to come in again, because I'm sure, you know, yes, kids need physical touch, play, connection, face-to-face connection. Oh my God, you are so right. And, you know, this awful self-image business, what is it? I was going to say it's an absolute, it's just the self-image machine about everyone having to look in a certain way has to end. Do you know, that's interesting, Simi? You said you've consciously stopped watching movies, TV, kind of an oxymoron with being a writer. Yes, but also as a writer, it means you are only influenced by your own intuitive and psychic abilities, so that you produce something that is authentically real and you. And I think this Mercury conjunct Chiron, conjunct the North Node in Aries today, is very much about the collective need for healing in the collective, and that we all have to make a conscious effort. You know, it's about intention meetings, you know, meditations and intention meditations of healing for human consciousness, for people to try and bring about the shift in the energies that are currently at work on the planet, because we are at a collective tipping point, politically, economically, psychologically, and spiritually. We have to decide which way this seesaw goes. Do we want to rise up and grow? Or are we going to fall down and drown? Well, I know which way I want to go. I want to go up. And, you know, I'm just seeing what Kate has written here. You only have mirrors that are shoulder level. And if my face and hair are okay, I feel okay. It doesn't matter what people think, because you can't please everyone. Do you know, that is so true? You're reminding me of the lovely Braca Goldsmith, who's taking time out from YouTube because she also had a health issue that she had to take a step back. And I remember one of her early videos I was watching, several years ago, where she had been receiving some pretty kind of unkind trolling. And what she said to kind of somehow manage it was, well, of course, none of us can be everybody's cup of tea. And that's the whole point. We can't. And on social media, there are, certain youngsters who are not getting the right guidance from their parents, who are probably also on social media, taking the best selfie and doctoring it and photoshopping it. And, kids, teenagers need guidance. I don't have children. I wasn't blessed with them, but I like to think that I can kind of do some maternal nurturing to the collective in the way that I do through YouTube, to at least raise the awareness of human consciousness, because it just takes, if you imagine all of us are just, in a sense, minute cells of the greater whole, that the universe is one pulsating, vibrant consciousness, a kind of magnificent consciousness that has all these neural pathways, for want of a better word, that connect all the galaxies and the solar systems and the star systems and the stars. And remember, our sun is a star, part of a binary system. Sirius is the other star of our system. And, as you bring it down like under a microscope to us on planet Earth, this is about you, me. We are these microcosmic particles of amazing human conscious energy. And we are energy. And we go on beyond the physical body. Our energy existed before we were in the physical form that we're in now, and our energy will exist beyond it, because you can't create energy and you can't destroy it. So energy is infinite. And as I've said a little bit earlier, I'll remind you of again, to manifest what you want in your life, Tesla said, you have to vibrate at the frequency or be on the same frequency as what it is you want to manifest. The frequencies of what you want to manifest have to match. Now we can create a new earth, a new collective, a new generation of higher consciousness and higher connected energies. Listen, I've been talking about this afternoon when I pre-recorded Neptune. Make sure you watch it when it comes live on the 18th of April, because I talk about it in there. Yes, Simi, what a brilliant man was Tesla. Absolutely. And my God, did society give him a big disservice. Can you see how history has been written to follow a certain construct, for us to be taught only what they, whoever they are, want us to know? And, history is much broader and much wider than all of that. Astrology is not taught in schools because it's not seen as scientific or proper. And yet, if every kid learned meditation and astrology, my God, we would have a planet that all got on. In probably 20 years' time, it could happen, in a generation. And, it really is so important to keep this energy high. So all of you out there, if you are in the services where you look after kids, students, introduce them to these thoughts, these ways of thinking, broaden their thinking, broaden their minds, introduce the alternatives. Just give it to them as a choice. Because if we don't give it as at least a choice and an option, then what are we doing? Because we don't want an automated Barbie culture, because that is the danger that we're tipping into. What we need is reality, realness. We need real human conscious awareness. We need taking risks. We need growth, personal growth, and growth for the collective. Now, I've been talking as usual for 50 minutes. Oh, I'm going to do a card. Shall I do a card? Shall I do a card? Yes, right. So let's see. Okay, yes, see me saying, let me do a card. Yes, Andy, let's make it happen. We can all make it happen. All of you can make it happen. We can all make it happen. We will do. Hello, Stuart. How good to see you here. Shirley, hi. I got the time wrong. I'm really sorry. I thought I was going on at 6 o'clock Central European time. It was 5 o'clock. I'd obviously clicked on the wrong bit when I set it up. So as I usually do, I'm using my teacher, astrology teacher mentor, Alison Chester Lambert's wonderful book of Greek mythology reading cards. And the link is in my description box if you would like to buy yourself a copy. The wonderful artwork is done by a great guy called Richard Crooks. And just to let you into a little secret, but my astrology teacher, Alison Chester Lambert, is going to be doing a show with Pam Gregory. How super exciting is that? And I will share on Facebook when I know when it's going to be live, but I'm just so super excited for her. This show is going to be, I'm going all goosey as I talk about it. This show between Pam Gregory and my mentor is going to be awesome. I'm so super excited for both of them. They're both just going to be awesome. So, right, let's see. I am now doing a card for the spring equinox. And oops, we are going to have the top one. The top one it is. Right, let's have a look. Oh, a perfect one for spring equinox and partying and celebrating the birth of the astrological new year. We have Dionysus, merrymaking. Dionysus of course, who was the god of wine, or was that Bacchus? No, that was Bacchus. So let me see what Alison says in her book about Dionysus. I think that's a wonderful card for us to have. So here we go. Ready for the story. Dionysus was a high-profile god whose themes included winemaking, grapevines, pleasure-seeking, or orgiastic behavior, and even madness or insanity. Well, I think we'll leave the madness or insanity out. But, she goes on to say, perhaps this madness can be thought of as the mental exhaustion we suffer from if we forget to rest, take time out, and enjoy life. Do you know, this couldn't be more perfect, could it? When you think where I came in and I was saying, fight, flight, freeze, I'm in freeze. I'm not anymore. I'm in go with the flow. I'm totally in go with the flow. And so because of the accelerating pace and the overload of electronic data, this is just what we've been talking about. This is extraordinary that we process these days. We can burn out or become stressed and dull before we realize it. This is extraordinary. Pleasurable activities with rest and relaxation can then restore mental health and well-being for a better work-life balance. Dionysus is also referred to as the god who is destroyed disappears and is reborn again. This is the spring equinox. I never cease to be amazed by life and the synchronicity of this particular card, Dionysus, being the one that I pulled. Oh, as I drop it, there we go. And so Dionysus, okay, so perhaps this is a metaphor for being exhausted and then being revived by merrymaking. You know how sometimes someone says, oh, come on, come out, let's do something. Let's have it. Oh, no, I'm so tired. I just want to go to bed. This is about actually doing it, and how we can wake up. If we really try and inject some merrymaking into ourselves, we can do it. We don't even have to do it with wine or anything else that's funny. So after all, Dionysus was accompanied by Silenus, who represents the deepest and most ancient wisdom of all. So consider whether you need some fun and revelry to restore your mental effectiveness. So the picture, just to show you again, is a bacchanalian revel before a statue of Pan. Well, I think that is quite extraordinary because that fits in with everything I've been talking about in the spring equinox and about, taking risks and growing. Take risks, it leads to personal growth. Jump, be the fool in the tarot. This is like the beginning of the major arcana wheel again. Be the fool and jump. Take that risk. And you know what? Something will come from it that you'll go, wow, that's really interesting. And, oh, bless you, Andy. You need joy and carefree fun and lots of belly laughs in the worst way. How healing it would be. Do you know, I think we would all feel that. And listen, I'm going to bring this to a close before we zoom into the over the hour mark. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Yes, God of Wine. And I'm going to go back and read all your live chat. I haven't found the way yet to make it also be seen after the video, and I keep forgetting to ask Jerry because there's so many things going on at the moment. I'm sorry. I will try and see how the live chat can be shown. Join me on Sunday at it will be 6 o'clock. I'm going to go into YouTube and check that I put it at 6 o'clock. Our clocks don't go forward till the following weekend, the Easter weekend. That's when our clocks here go forward an hour. So you guys are awesome. Andy, thank you for waking me up and telling me that I was on in 5 minutes because I didn't know. And thank you all for joining me. Please check out all the videos on my channel. The full moon that we've got on Monday is up there. It's doing really well. Saturn's dragging a bit, so try and get that out there. Share it on Facebook. Get a few more views for it. Because if it doesn't get the views, it drops in the algorithm. So then people don't know that it's out there to be seen. But it's an interesting video. I know Saturn is a bit of a dour subject, but it's really interesting. So thank you for joining me. I will see you on Sunday at 6 o'clock Central European time, whatever time that is for you in your parts of the world. So what can I say? You're all absolutely awesome. Remember, take risks, jump, do it. Just let it go and go for it. Okay, bye for now. Bye all.